Doing Mike Callahan here with SimpleGrowth Systems, and wanted to take a few minutes here and give a little opening to this talk. But a lot of people have been requesting, what does Service Autopilot look like fully set up, and what is my roadmap to success for specifically either the lawn care industry or home cleaning industry? So what I'm going to be doing here over the next 45 to 50 minutes is literally breaking down how to use Service Autopilot for the lawn care and home cleaning industry in each and every part of the system that you really need to have set up for success. In addition, I have a URL here scrolling across the bottom of the screen. If you go to simplegrowthsystems.com/SA-audit, we're giving a free audit of Service Autopilot for lawn care and home cleaning companies. So this is specific to your industry and what you need for success. So I'm going to go over the next 45, 50 minutes of your roadmap to success inside Service Autopilot. And if you'd also like a free copy of this slide deck and cheat sheet, feel free to go to that simplegrowthsystems.com/SA-audit. As you can see it in the bottom of the screen here. And I'll also put it in the notes as well here for the Facebook Live. So without any further delay, I'm going to actually go ahead and show this in the stream and break this down so people can see this. So if you have any questions here in the live version, feel free to put them in the comments section. And I'm going to go nice and slow through this, and you can actually have your questions answered live right here in this Facebook Live or in the recorded version. I'll keep an eye on it for the next 24 to 48 hours, but definitely a cool resource SimpleGrowth team is providing right now as a certified advisor of Service Autopilot. We're doing about a 30-minute free audit of your SA system to let you know what you need to be doing for success, whether you're in the lawn care or home cleaning industry. And like I said, they are a little bit different, each audit, particularly to what you need for success in that industry. So hopefully that will help. So without any further delay, once again, free copy of this presentation and a free cheat sheet of the presentation here, plus an SA free audit if you go to simplegrowthsystems.com/SA-audit.com. It's in the comments of the Facebook Live, as well as scrolling across the bottom of the screen. So as we're looking at Service Autopilot as a platform, there is some significant things that I'm going to recommend for success. So the best way of seeing this here is literally in this flow chart. What I'm going to do is break it down in each digestible chunk, but to give you a very high level overview, we are going from lead acquisition, whether it's from your website or when the client calls. There's certain things that we need in there for success. We're going to go in and talk about how they're automatically entered into SA with no double entry. We're going to go through the estimate creation process, a specific workflow that we recommend for lost in one estimates here for database hygiene and workflow. We're going to show you how to schedule the work and all the things that we recommend going into scheduling the work. So we're going to be going over one-time jobs, reoccurring jobs, installment billing, and waiting list jobs, and how they pertain to the lawn care and specifically home cleaning separately as well. So it's not a specific conversation around each just average industries, how you would use it. We're going to talk how you would use it in your specific industry as well during this talk. We're going to go into routing and kind of demystify some of the things that people don't think work and why they don't work, and how to actually overcome some of those issues to make sure your routing is optimized and we minimize that non-billable drive time and optimized. We're going to go through the dispatch board, how to adjust the crews on the fly so we have proper payroll and job costing. And we're going to go into the closeout day screen. Closeout day screen really is the most important system and screen in the whole entire process inside Service Autopilot. So we're going to spend some time and dive into a 3 to 5 minute sanity check. So then the final thing is we're going to go into invoice and collecting. So how to charge your invoice as far as credit cards, email, and printing. And once again, how to do those installment billings to make sure we have proper job costing and production, and not just putting a job on there with a $0 price or zero budgeted hours. We need all this information for good data in, good data out. So once again, if you have no data in, well, you've got no data. So we're going to go and demystify all of these things for success inside Service Autopilot, particularly for the lawn care and home cleaning industry. If you're not in one of those industries, this will still be applicable, but I'm going to really break it down in some detail. And lift the hood of how I did it in my company, and as well as how we've built this out in well over 100 cleaning companies as well for expert workflow. We're going to show you some examples and really just show you how we've done this for success in Service Autopilot. And as a certified advisor, if you don't have Service Autopilot yet, you can reach out to us. We can help you purchase it and help you set this up. And if you already have it, obviously we're here as a resource to help you do this. But if you're going to do it on your own, this is how I would recommend you doing it. I'm just going to show you step by step how we do it as professionals here. So first thing here is estimate request off the website. So once again, if it's a little blurry on the screen here, go to simplegrowthsystems.com/SA-audit, and you can get a free copy of these decks. They're a little bit clearer depending on how this is coming out through the Facebook Live. But I'm going to break this down for you. So the first thing you want to do, whether you do it yourself or you have, whether you do it yourself or you have SimpleGrowth do it, is we want to build out an estimate request. Now, what I'm going to be recommending is best practices. We want to use our V3 forms. Now, V3 forms are going to handle duplicate checking, and they're going to automatically insert the contact in the Service Autopilot with no double entry. And it's going to alert somebody in your office to let them know that we have an estimate due. And it should tell them what services that the consumer is interested in. In addition, it should be tracking the sales source. So it's automatically entering the client's information in, it's creating that lead, and it's tracking the sales source, obviously, from the website. Now, if a client calls, and I'm going to break this down in some detail, how we train this, but there's certain information that we really need to have for success. So we're going to create a phone intake form, or at least a pre-built training exercise for your admin or virtual assistant, and how to get that client in there. So if the client info is entered in, so name, address, all the information you need, and the sales source, how did they hear about us? We also want to track if it's commercial or residential. That is going to assist for foundational setup for the reporting center. So now that we've got them from our website or the client calls, they're automatically in Service Autopilot. But what you've got at this point is a foundational understanding of good data in, good data out. So now we can go in and track how many people have come from each marketing source, and how many of those people converted into an estimate, and then how many people converted into a client. So that's going to give us a client acquisition cost. That's the cost per acquired customer that you're on average paying based on your paid marketing. So whether it's door hangers, 9-arounds, or a Facebook ad, we're going to have now solid data in SA. In addition, once you have enough data in here, we're actually going to be able to go in and get you a client lifetime value based on each marketing source. So maybe your home advisor client lifetime value on average is $250, but from a Facebook ad, maybe that is $1,800 or $2,000. So now we can go in and figure out what's the average percentage of clients that leads that turn into clients, what's the cost, and what's the average lifetime value. So those are the foundational things when we set this up that we want to have set up in play. Now, the next thing is we go into the estimate creation process. So what we're going to do is dive into certain things called custom fields, or basically job variables. Now, one of the biggest things is, what if I'm new in business, or maybe I've been in business for a long time, but I don't know how long it takes to either mow or clean X amount of square feet? That's okay. And this is the way we tackle it here at SimpleGrowth. So I would like to say there's 3 types of main estimating. The first one I don't recommend, but when we all usually first get into business, we go out and charge what we think our competitors are charging, or the market value. So you go up to a home, you say, well, based on my experience, this is what the market's demanding. So that's a $35 lawn mowing, or maybe $125 weekly cleaning. Obviously, that's not what we want to do. But the next one is I like to call guesstimation. Guesstimation is basically, how long do you think it's going to take based on your industry experience? You can go up to this yard or home and say, based on my experience, I think it's going to take 1 hour to do this job. And my goal at the end of the day is to make $50 per man hour. So I would take my 1 hour and multiply it by the $50, and I would have $50 is what I was charging. Now, eventually what we want to do is take that information and have other custom field variables for the area that we're servicing, so the turf square footage or home square footage, and we can run reports in 3 to 6 months based on the data that we've set up now and say, okay, based on your guys and girls and your equipment, this is how long it actually took your crews to do this. So we've been able to elevate from getting away from what market price is to how long you think it's going to take as an expert, and then taking that and evolving into a production rate based estimating system. And that can be based on square footage, linear feet, or number of units, say small, medium, and large shrubs, or in the home cleaning, maybe the number of bed and linen changes, things like that. So these are different variables that can happen with this. The idea is that once we have this set up, we are going to select a template. A template's going to load all your services, and the prices will be calculated off our time or square foot or linear feet production rate, and it will calculate automatically a price, a budgeted time, and a cost before profit. Those are going to be your 3 key variables to success on this process. Now, obviously, we're going to present that estimate live over the phone or in person and try to close that consumer. But if we can't get a yes, we are going to hit save, and we're going to go out and email this estimate. Now, the estimate, when we hit email an estimate, a preloaded templated email loads up with a clickable link that says view my proposal. Now, what we're going to do is standardize the marketing document so it's set it and forget it. Now, you can customize it on the fly, but that's something we really want to get away from. We want to be able to have a predetermined marketing document that everyone in your office can literally hit email, it comes up, or a virtual assistant such as pink collars. So what we're going to do is hit send, and that goes out to the client. Now, obviously, we hope that the estimate is 1. But if the estimate isn't 1, first thing I want to talk about is let's talk about the negative here. If the estimate is lost, how do we handle it? And what I'm going to suggest, whether in version 2 or version 3 of Service Autopilot, is you want to go in and physically close that loss estimate and track why you lost the estimate. Was it too expensive? They were going with a competitor. Was it unknown? But we want to track that. And the idea now is we've got data and why we're losing our estimates, and we've closed that lead down. So we have a clean database. I like to call that database hygiene. So what we do is we've got a very clean look inside the software of all the leads that can potentially convert into a client. And we can now see the other lost leads that are closed to market and go out and nurture and upsell and reactivate our services. But really, we want a clean look at what are the people that can convert right now in our sales pipelines. That's why we're going to close out that lead, create that database hygiene. Like I said, you can still market them, you can still upsell them. Now, on the bottom, obviously, we hope we win this estimate. So what we're looking at here is we want to either physically select each service that was won, or if it's online acceptance, the customer will click and accept and sign, and you'll get a notification. Now, what I'm going to suggest is we schedule off the physical estimate. In 99% of the scenarios when we set this up, this is the workflow. Now, there's a couple outliers. If you've worked with SimpleGrowth and we've had to create a custom workflow, this may not be the case. But 99% of the time, we are going to not recommend, but really insist that you schedule off that estimate. And there's 2 reasons. One, the first reason is it will avoid duplicate contacts in the system. So once again, database hygiene. So Mrs. Smith won't be a lead and a client in the system. So it's going to force you to convert her into a client. Now, once she's a client and we schedule that service, the price, the budgeted time, and the cost before profit is automatically transferred over to that job. So all the data that was automated and systematized on the estimate now is automatically over there. So we're starting to remove extra work and points of error. So traditionally, when most people, before they work with us, will be having about 10 to maybe 15 different screens they're using on a daily basis. Once you systematize it and dial that in, we're only using 5 or 6 screens to success. So that's where I can take someone off the street with about 7 to 10 days, have them pretty confident using Service Autopilot, because we're going to condense the workflow and streamline it from lead acquisition all the way through billing and fulfillment. So now that we've got this job, we need to go out and schedule this work. So there's 3 or 4 different types of jobs that we're going to recommend that you understand and use. And this is what we train at SimpleGrowth as a certified advisor. But the first one is a one-time job. So one-time job is the day and possibly the time that you're going to be doing that job. But at bare minimum, the day. So we can schedule it for that day. The next one is a reoccurring job. So this could be a weekly, bi-weekly, maybe every 3 or 4 weeks. Doesn't matter. We can set that schedule up, but it's a reoccurring job on a reoccurring basis. So we're going to set that up. And once we get those routed and scheduled, then that schedule is made and optimized each week, so you don't have to worry about it. Now, the next one is going to be a waiting list job. Now, a waiting list job is, let's say we have a job that we have to do this month, but it doesn't have to be done today. So it allows you to schedule within a desired stop and end time. Now, if you go past it, it turns red to notify you and let you know. The idea is we're able to schedule a whole bunch of jobs and optimize and minimize that non-billable drive time if it doesn't have to be done in an exact time. Now, building upon that concept, we have a package job. And that's predominantly for a fertilizing business. Now, what's going to happen there is we have 2 or 4 or maybe 5 different rounds of fertilizing. We have a start and end date. So in the spring, maybe your pre-emergent crabgrass control plus fertilizer is April 1st through April 30th. Now, it allows you to optimize just like waiting lists for each round. Now, even in commercial cleaning, you may have some packages for maybe stripping and waxing. Same kind of idea. They have to be done each quarter, but they don't have to be done specifically on a certain date. Maybe they can be done within a certain week's time frame. So that's how we can go in and tackle that. Now, the next thing is once we schedule that work, we want to double check to make sure we have a price and budgeted time. Now, you shouldn't always have this. If we've taken that estimate and scheduled it from the estimate, but just double checking, making sure we have all the right things in there. Now, we're going to go into routing. And now 23 or less stops, we can optimize for free in Service Autopilot through Google. Anything more than 23, we're going to be using products like TrackRoad or Ursi, which is built into the system. Very minimal charge, but it's going to allow you to route in a systematic order your routes from start to end with drive time calculations, navigation, step-by-step printable directions, or navigation live in your mobile. Now, the biggest demystifier here is, and we're going to go in when we go to team setup, is that each team or vendor, if they're subcontractors, needs to have a starting address, so an address on that actual team. And I'll show you where that is later in the talk. But if that doesn't, each crew or team doesn't have a starting address on the file, route optimization is pretty tough for the computer because it doesn't have a point to optimize on. So that's usually the biggest issue that we see. The route optimization actually works really well 99% of the time, but it can't really work well if you don't tell it where to start and stop. So those are the ideas that we want to look at. Once again, if you're joining us live or the recorded version, happy to answer any questions along the way of your roadmap to success for SA. And make sure you check it out on simplegrowthsystems.com/SA-audit. We're giving away a free 30-minute audit of your SA system. So the next thing is we've got the work done and we're in our closeout day screen. And I mentioned it earlier. This is really the most important screen in Service Autopilot because this is the last point a human can touch the start and stop times to the job, the price, and the budgeted time. So we usually traditionally train going through that systematically for each resource or crew and making sure there's a start and stop time that makes sense, a budgeted time, and a price. The biggest mistake you'll see is the start and stop times will literally be under a minute. So the crew got to the house to either cut the grass or clean the house. They got excited. They got in. They started the job. They got to the end. They're like, oh, crap. We didn't clock in. So they pull up their mobile and they go in and out, in and out. And now it looks like they've done that job in about a minute. So now your average revenue per man hour is probably looking something like $1,000 an hour when it's probably only 45 or 50. So we want to make sure that this screen is set up correct because this is the last time a human can touch it before invoicing, production reports, and job costing reports. Now, the final thing is whether you bill daily, weekly, or monthly, or a custom day at midnight or 12 or 1, those invoices are automatically generated. So what you're going to want to do literally is going into the accounting screen with 3 clicks of a button. We can charge all the cards, email the invoices, or print them out, and then enter payments to get in here. Now, the biggest thing that I like to touch on here is it's a major mistake that we see is whether you're setting it up in V2 or V3, that when you do an installment contract and you have all the jobs underneath it, so let's say it's a maintenance contract for lawn care or home cleaning for that matter, and it's $1,000 installment, but maybe that includes the weekly maintenance but it doesn't include, say, in lawn care, tree pruning, or maybe in home cleaning or commercial cleaning, it doesn't include stripping and waxing the floors. We'd want to be able to include those ancillary services and bill those out separately up and above the $1,000 a month. That's the benefit of an installment setup there. So you can have certain services under the monthly installment and then bill the others up in advance. The main thing is when we go to schedule those jobs that are under, so the individual services under that installment, we need to assign it to the contract, and we need to have a price and budgeted time, because if you don't have data going in there, we won't be able to have the data coming out for your job costing and reporting. Now, the next thing we're looking at is electronic signature and package display. So these are the biggest questions or issues that we see when people are either originally setting up SA or they've been in there a while, but just really haven't had the time to dive in. So if you go in under settings, under estimates and estimate settings, we've got this here. The two things you want to look at is you click on package item total here, items, and it gives you the ability to do just the total of all the rounds, each round only, or the prices for each round and then the subtotal. What our best practice recommending is package item totally only. So that's going to avoid that sticker shock. Scrolling back down, main other thing is allow capture on view my proposal. So that's like your electronic signature there. And then default estimate items is 1, either checked or unchecked. I'm going to recommend you put those as unchecked so the consumer physically has to click on it to accept the estimate. Now, next thing here is custom fields. So those were those job variables that we were talking about. So I've got 3 different sets of ways to do this. So I've got examples for cleaning, snow removal, and lawn care / pest control. So from left to right, cleaning industry, those are going to be such things as home square footage, number of people, number of pets, number of areas that you're cleaning, those variables that you're looking at. Snow removal could be how many square feet that we're doing for plowing. And maybe we have different variables based on different increments of snow. Now, lawn care and pest control are predominantly going to be on things like called turf square footage, or the square footage a 22, 52, or 60-inch mower is handling, if you have separate production rates and estimating based on the size of the mower. But the idea here is, once again, under that gear icon, we go down to custom fields, and this is what comes up. So we would have a name. We want to associate it to the customer, and we want that value type predominantly to be a number if we're running a mathematical equation on it. So we have a production rate based estimating system. And I'm going to show you in the next screen, if we did from 1 to say 1,000 square feet, the custom field would be a number because we're using that in a calculation on a custom field. So that will make more sense right here. So this is the SimpleGrowth estimate blueprint. What we are going to recommend, especially when people work with us, we do require it when you work with SimpleGrowth as a certified advisor, is that we go into the estimate blueprint. This is something we give our clients when they work with us here. So if you're doing this yourself, I recommend making something very similar. But the idea is we blueprint it, we test our profit and profit percentage, and then we transfer that into Service Autopilot. So we have a blueprint to do it. So like, I like to use the example of building a house. You're not going to build a house and just put random doors and windows anywhere. Well, you don't want to do the same thing in Service Autopilot. You need a blueprint, and then you implement your blueprint inside the software itself. So we've got a lawn mowing and home cleaning example. So lawn mowing here, the custom field, the job variable is turf square footage. And I'm saying from 1 square foot to 5,000 square feet, my base price, the minimum I would show up is $45. And for one person and one person only to mow, blow, and edge that property, I'm giving them 20 minutes or 0.33 man hours. Now, based on some variables I've already predetermined, my hourly goal per person on the crew is $55 an hour. And my expense per hour is $36. That's my break even. So what we've done is figured out our profit and profit percentage. So we're making fictitiously in this job $33 on the base price and a 73% net profit margin. Then I'm saying every 1,000 over my base price of 5,000 square feet is an additional $2.75, 0.05 man hours, and an expense of $1.80 before profit. Now, you can't see it because my video picture here is on the head, as on the bottom part of the house cleaning, but we've got the same exact thing. Our job square footage, or house square footage, is our job variable from 1 to 1,200 square feet. For my weekly cleaning is 145, 2.9 man hours. And if we had the calculation here, it would kick out the profit based on that. And then every 500 square feet of cleaning over the 1,200 is an additional X amount of dollars, X amount of time, and then behind my video is a cost before profit. So that is the blueprint. Now what we're gonna do is take this, and if you remember these top 5 lines right here, they are gonna systematically line up right here. So if I jump that slide back, the top 5 cells here line up and the bottom 5 cells line up here. So once again, we're just transferring them over to the top 5 and the bottom 5. So we've taken our blueprint and we've moved it over to Service Autopilot's pricing matrix. Now we can get more complex and pull it out and do price breaks based on larger properties and things like that. But at a bare minimum, this is what we need. And when we go back to our blueprint, we've got our custom field, turf square footage, or in cleaning, home square footage. And that's our blueprint right there. So that is the deal here. So we're going to set our calculation. We're going to base it on the custom field here. So now you kind of see we've blueprinted this out and we've created a workable roadmap for success. So we're going to go in, we're set our calculation, our custom field, and then we are going to go in and build that out and hit save. So now we've got our services set up. So this is your blueprint and guide to success. Now, we talked about having an estimate request on your website. So here is in a V2 form, but almost identical in V3, how we break this down. So what we're going to do is go under marketing and forms, and we're going to put first name, last name, and map these back to first name, last name. Address is going to be mapped back to service address. And then phone number, I'm recommending it that you attach it to your cell phone number for your client or lead, so you can use that for text messaging and automations. Now, if it's not a cell phone number, it's okay. It's not going to fire off or charge you, but by best practice, I recommend having that in there. Now, email is going to be mapped back to email. For this cleaning industry example or lawn care, we want to make sure that we auto create on submit. We create on submit a lead here, and we can put our sales source for search engine or website. Now, in addition, we're going in and asking some questions. They're interested in one-time cleaning, weekly or bi-weekly, move in or move out, number of bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, and maybe how many stories. So these are some of the things we're pulling off the website to be able to create an estimate live for cleaning. Now in lawn care, same exact thing, first name, last name, service address, phone number, email. What are we interested in? And we'd have maybe check boxes for them to check all the services they want an estimate on. I would narrow these down to your gateway services, the ones you can measure online and sell over the phone, and then within 20 to 30 days, go back out and upsell the ancillary services on site. So the next thing we're diving into here is a lead entry into your office. So we kind of covered what goes on your website. Those are the 2 options. We now want to go into what if somebody calls your office. So there's certain things that we really need to get in. So we're going into the plus icon, we're adding that lead. First name, last name. Here, if it's a company, we'd put the company's name in here. And then our office is asking the service address. Now, if the service address is the same as the billing address, it automatically populates here. We always want to be asking for the email and the cell phone. Cell phone provider is not needed. That's a legacy feature, so just ignore it. Master property here is if you are doing multiple properties, say for a property manager, you can have the property manager as your master property, and then you'd have all the sub properties on there to combine and consolidate your billing. Now, the next thing we're looking at is this next tab here for details. When you click in that details tab, I'm going to go in and tell you that you really need to put in residential or commercial to segment your database. And the next thing here is under the sales tab, we want to go in and select the sales source. So we track how they came in, and then we can get that lead to client conversion ratio, lead acquisition cost, and the client lifetime value, all based off that. And if they were referred by somebody already in your database, this is where we'd click that, the drop-down menu would come down, and you say, you pick Mrs. Smith if she was the referring lead or client in your system, so you can do referral lifetime reporting as well. So these are foundational things in the system that we really want to dial into. Now, the next thing is under the billing tab, as we're entering it in, this is your manual override to manually override your system. So if you're set up to invoice monthly at net due 10 and you wanted to bill this particular person daily, you could override it to bill them daily and have them due on receipt, for instance. Now, the final tab off to the right here is Office Notes. This is your internal Office Notes. They are private. You know that by this right here. So these are your internal notes based on that client. That's the main thing. So now we're going to go in and hit save and create this lead. Now we have a lead in the system. There are some visual clues that we like to train as a certified advisor you want to look at. And you can see on the left-hand side here, we've got the little avatar, the little person here with the red L. That's a lead. No avatar is a lead that we've closed out with a loss estimate. If we have the little avatar with nothing next to it, that's a client. And then if you have the avatar here with the little slash through it, that's a canceled client. So once again, when a customer cancels, we want to close them out so we have a clean database of just clients. We can still see people that haven't won an estimate and haven't become a client, and we can see our canceled clients. But now we have a really clean database. And when we go under the magnifying glass here, we have great little visual clues how to actually go out and dial into where they're at in the system. Now, another great visual clue here is this long gray estimate bar. There's also going to be a little L, I believe it is, in V3 that signifies that. But that long gray bar is a visual clue for your team and you that the person is a lead. And then when they convert into a client, there'll be 3 distinct columns for scheduling, billing, and estimates and installments underneath with contracts. So these are the visual clues and how we create database hygiene in Service Autopilot. So 3 workflows for estimate data collection. Maps Pro, creating a standard phone intake sheet, and then an on-site estimate form. And these are the 3 ways that we recommend and teach how to use Service Autopilot. So the first one here is Maps Pro, or in V3, it's called Smart Maps. Very much the same thing. Things you want to do is you want to go to the More tab, which is right here. When you blow it up, we're going to property measurements. Now you can see I've got the areas here measured out. So I've gone in and measured it by just clicking on the map here. And then I recommend color coding the turf area or whatever you're servicing. If there's bed square footage, you'll notice there's plus, 0, and minus signs here. This gives you the ability to add a null, add to it, subtract to it, or keep a null value. The same exact thing is available in V3. Very handy to have these things labeled. We have our total turf square footage, and we would hit save. Then we're going to go into our custom fields down here and select the variable, say turf square footage for the grass area, and save that. And then it is ready to calculate off your pricing matrix. So the next thing is the auto assist for standard workflow. So if you are using Pro Plus with automations, this little A for auto assist is here, and it's a workflow addition that's really going to help you. So if not, you need to go down to the bottom and hit forms and select your forms. This is what we recommend, Pro Plus. And then we've got our fillable phone intake form. We click on that and we've got a cleaning example, and then I've got a lawn care example next. But the idea here is Debbie Sardones from Cleaning Business Fundamentals has built out a product with SimpleGrowth. So if you're a CBF member, let us know or let Debbie know. We're happy to show you kind of how we automated CBF right inside Service Autopilot Turnkey for you, complete with marketing documents. But the idea here is this lead sheet is going in and creating a call script. So how did you hear about us? Is it a one-time or ongoing service? And it's grabbing all the variables that her team needs to go out and estimate all the cleaning over the phone. The next thing is a mobile on-site estimate form. So let's say we can't measure it over the satellite for lawn care. We want to be able to go in and have a mobile phone where you can go in and walk around and your estimator's plugging the data in. Now they're plugging the data in. So we got property specific data where we've got our phone, we're walking around the property. What's the lawn square footage if you couldn't measure it on the satellite? What's the linear length of landscape beds if we're edging those beds? What's the number of small, medium, and large shrubs? How many hedgerows with 10-foot sections with or without a ladder? What we're doing is driving in all the data we need. So when we get to that estimate part, it's going to automatically calculate your price, your budget, time, and cost before profit. Now, pro tip, we recommend, and we've cracked the code here, how to use custom fields from the new document editor inside the estimate description. So the notes down here, I can type in does not include the hedgerow on the back side of the lot line, and it will automatically merge into the estimate without having to remember to do it. So the idea is we're walking around with that phone or tablet, we're plugging in all the property-specific data, so we've created a standardized process. So this is a gentleman who ran my business, had never done pruning, mulching, mowing, any of those services. Within a few days, I had him up and running, just plugging data in there and be able to estimate as well as I have with 20 plus years experience. So the idea is we want to standardize what's in the owner or manager's head and be able to take it out into an on-site estimate form. Cleaning industry, once again, if we've got a top to bottom deluxe, a weekly clean, bi-weekly clean, you're plugging in how many hours in each one of these that you think it's going to take based on your experience on that job, if we're not ready for square foot production rates, to actually go out and estimate that job. So the next step here is creating pre-built estimates for leads and clients separately. So what you can see here right out of my old company's SA account here is we've got one for clients and leads. And the why we're doing this is, in my opinion, we're going to have two separate conversations. If someone's a lead and never done work with us, the marketing conversation based on where they are in the client life cycle is going to be different versus someone who is already a client. So I'm recommending you make two different versions of your estimate email and your estimate document to be able to have that personalized but automated conversation based on where they're at. Now, the next thing is pre-built estimate templates, say for lawn care, and I'm going to go into home cleaning next, is what we've done here is we've gone in and built a production rate based estimating system where it will calculate based on the lawn square footage, and we've added different zones or postal codes where you could just plug the number in. It would calculate a on-site time and a drive time, and all the consumer sees is the bottom price, but we're able to break out our production for drive time and on-site separately. In addition, we've got an example here for disposal fees of $30. That's defaulted in. So another thing that happens when we start to delegate our estimating is people forget to add the different things in, or they conveniently erase it and don't put it in to win the jobs. So the idea is we can default things that always need to be on the system to create predictable systems. Now, pre-built templates for cleaning is very interesting. So what we've done is kind of crack the code in cleaning. So, and this also works for lawn care if you want high-low pricing for spring and fall cleanups. But there's two different ways to be able to do it. So we can estimate with a minimum and maximum price range for cleaning or, say, spring or fall cleanups and lawn care. Or on the right-hand side of the screen, we can do it for exact pricing. So we've got the ability now to go out and do high-low price ranges for jobs that are a little scarier to give an exact price. And they come with a budgeted time for high and low and a cost before profit, or we can go in and do an exact price with budgeted time and cost. So those are the two different variables for lawn care and home cleaning. We can do high, low price ranges, exact pricing, or hourly time and materials. So next thing is we want pre-built estimate emails. So we've gone in, we've created this estimate, and we try to close them over the phone. But if we can't close them over the phone, next step is let's email that out. So we go in and hit the email button right here, and this email loads in with everything you already have, and it's got a clickable quote link in there. So when you send that out to your client or lead, this would be what they'd be getting. And it has this little thing here, click here to view my proposal. Now, included in this, we've included our lead letter of the 5 or 6 main reasons why we're different. We've included some buttons off there on their mobile. They can call us now or text our office. But the idea is they click in that, and then they're going to open up the estimate, which I'm going to show you. But another pro tip is I would blank carbon copy yourself in your office and text the quote through the message center in SA. So we email it and text message it. Huge, huge benefit that we've had in my lawn care company, as well as SimpleGrowth, the ability to email and text message the estimates. An extra 2 minutes, well worth the investment in my opinion. So pre-built estimate documents and price grids. So the next thing that we're looking at is this is the actual estimate. It's kind of chunked into 3 parts because it's pretty long. But step 1 is select the services you want. Step 2 is accept and sign. So we can have the service details in there for that $45 mowing. If we want, we can also have videos embedded on the service line item or below that. And then we have our general details and contract terms. We have more clickable buttons and some videos that can play live in the estimate below the pricing. So we have videos on the actual service level and below that. So that is your 24 hours, 7 days a week automated salesperson. So I highly recommend making those videos. And if you're making your videos, they don't have to be perfect, but you want to include what's included in the service, what's not included, and your satisfaction guarantee. And addressing the sales or price objections up front. Do I need to be home to have the service done? Is there certain insurance I should be looking for? Whatever those issues are for that service, be upfront and talk about it. That's going to shorten that sales cycle and hopefully raise that price ability to charge the highest price, because we've created you as the expert throughout that video. Now, next thing here is we've got the electronic signature. They click to sign, and that's going to time and date stamp all that information inside SA. So as we go in, once the estimate is won, I've got time and date stamped IP address above the estimate and an electronic signature I can print out for collections. Or if you're in New York State and they have pretty strict DEC pesticide laws, that is going to cover you. We also had some buttons here we can click in and get MSD labels if that's applicable to the industry you're in. So we can have that all inside a Service Autopilot estimate. Now that we've won that estimate, we need to convert that lead into a client. So if you remember that flow chart earlier in the talk, I said, when we win that estimate, we want to convert the lead into a client and schedule off the estimate. So when we go to schedule, if you don't remember to convert, it's going to force you to convert. Then we're going to take our price and budgeted time and cost, and we're going to schedule that job. So all of that's now moving into the job. So we have a price, budgeted time and cost before profit. We're going to add in our reoccurring jobs, either weekly, bi-weekly, or a custom schedule. And we can dial that into a lot of different variables there. Really popular in the cleaning industry for sure right here, but lawn care folks are starting to catch on to that as well. And that's our one-time or reoccurring. And then we've got our waiting list job where we have a start and complete by date. So that's that time range. Very popular in holiday lights, spring and fall cleanups, cleaning industry. It's going to be something where you're probably doing a move in, move out, or a post-construction clean. Doesn't need to be done today, but it needs to be done before the end of the week. So that gives you that variability. So foundations to scheduling. Once again, I said teams, or basically crews. We want to go under teams here and pull out each crew. So we have our residential crew number 1, the starting address. That is for the best results for route optimization. And once we have that, we're in good shape, but we'd go in, we add our team, and then we create that team. You need a starting address on there. We also want to be able to go under crew assignments and assign the default assignees. Now, if someone doesn't show, I'll show you how to remove that quickly in the next few slides. So as we click team assignments, we've got them in there. How many days are they available? If you work 7 days a week and they are available, put all 7 days so they are available if we get rain delay or issues, especially in lawn care. Next thing is scheduling in payroll reporting. So even if you're not using Service Autopilot as your payroll system, this information needs to be in there. And it's actually kind of confusing. So I'm going to break it down for you. So under Teams Employees, we need to go in, under the Job Costing tab and mark employees hourly and put their hourly rate. So if this gentleman or lady was making $15 an hour on a payroll job costing, in my sheet over here, I've figured out my labor burden. And now labor burden is going to, I'm going to split the screen here so you can actually see this for a minute. So labor burden here is your FICA, unemployment, workers' comp, and we're getting it as a percentage of $1. And if it was hourly rate was 15, we add that labor with labor burden in there. So it's 1785 and 2678, and that's what goes in here. So it's labor hourly rate with labor burden and overtime with labor burden. Those are the keys to success for that in there. So when we're running job costing reports and some other reports, if you're going in for labor costing effect or drive time labor cost effect, you will have zeros in there if the information's not on there, because those are data points the system works off of to calculate that for you. So the next thing we're looking at is the dispatch board. So what if we have a no-show, no-call employee? When we've set up those teams with the employees on there, we have them defaulted in here. But the idea is if we go to the More tab under the dispatch board and assign teams, this comes up. And this gives us the ability to drag and drop these individuals off. And you can see at the bottom there, it says update end times based on budgeted hours and assignments. So this is only applicable for that one day, but this is your key to success for having proper payroll, job costing, production reports each and every day, especially if you're doing time and material jobs. So very important, no matter the industry, we can drag and drop if the crews change from the default setup from the system. Now, the closeout day screen, like I said, that's probably the most important screen of the whole entire system. So this is where a human should go in at the end of the day or the beginning of the next day for the previous day. And we're making sure we got start and stop times, budgeted time, and so start and stop times, budgeted times, and a rate. And we also want to go into the columns and add the variance and the actual hours worked. Now that is going to give you the actual time and the variance, plus or minus over the budgeted time. So that's going to give you a really good look at where you're at for good data in, good data out. And this is going to set up your billing, your job costing, production rate reports for success. Now, contract setup. So this was the final part of the flow chart that we went through is, imagine we have a maintenance contract. So we're going to select the start and end time, a line item. When we hit the plus icon, it drops it in. That's our invoice line item with default service that's going to be under. And then we'd fill in the monthly installment. Now we can say bill to what day of the month. Are we billing 1 day in advance? How are they paying? Check, card, or whatever else that may be. Auto generate, active, and include sub-properties. So that could be the sub-properties of a master property. And we're going to be adding the services in there. And then under alerts right here, we can do an alert if it's over X amount of hours or X amount of visits. So that gives you that granularity there as well. Main thing is when we set these services up here under the contract, we assign it to the contract, and then we have a price and budgeted time. So we need that data. It will not double bill that. If it's there, we need to have that price and budgeted time for scheduling and reporting. But if we assign it to the contract and that's a service that's under the installment, it will not double bill. In addition, package jobs for fertilizing right here, assign it to that contract, same thing. We want a price and budgeted time. It will not double bill. So the next thing is invoice email with credit card payment option or the client portal. So we go down and email out those invoices. We can have a really nice document here with click here to pay with a PCI compliant credit card form for clearance, or we can have a link to your payment portal, and you can have a separate email the first time they sign up for a temporary username and password for the Service Autopilot payment portal. That's how we can go in and get that credit card and get those processes going to get that payment. So the final part is the report center and job costing reports. And this is really important because now we've got all of this data, and everybody that I see on Facebook near the end of the year, the beginning of the year, even in the middle of the year, go, you know, I'm going to raise my prices $3 across the board or a percentage. So really, I think that's really a foolish thing to do, because really what you're doing is you're telling your most profitable clients to go shop you, and you're telling your least profitable clients you're raising them up a little bit, but they already know they're probably getting a deal, so they're going to stick around. So what we're going to recommend is running a job costing report through the report center. And what we have here is name, address, and the date, and the price per visit. So we've got an average of $54 per cut. And the two stops that we were here, obviously you'd have a whole year's worth of data or half a year's worth of data, but on average you made $54 per man hour or $60 per man hour. And on average it came out to $57.30. So what we've got here is we put in our desired dollar per man hour of $60. If we're only making 57, so we're just under $3 under our goal, it's telling us we need to raise our price $2.56 with no emotion. So this is how you would raise your prices with no emotion based on the report center. So basically that is your Service Autopilot from stem to stern before you automate it, fully set up, back literally from lead acquisition all the way through estimating, scheduling, billing, and fulfillment. Now, that's only half the deal. So once we've got Service Autopilot set up, there's 3 key areas in the business we're going to recommend for a fully set up SA roadmap to success. Is we're going to go in and automate our sales, including some finances and overdue accounts. We're going to automate our employee recruiting, training, and onboarding, and then we're going to automate our repetitive tasks. And these are the 3 main hurdles to break that million mark and beyond. And even if you've broken that million mark, if you haven't automated these are probably holding the owner down from having that lifestyle they desire, because they are babysitting their business and probably entrenched in it. So I'm going to break this down real quickly. But if you need or want an audit for your SA setup before we get to the automated audit, go to simplegrowthsystems.com/SA audit. And that is going to be right here. There's a video kind of outlining it. And then you can literally book a call with myself or Dylan on the SimpleGrowth team to actually get a time to go on a screen share for a half hour and literally get a free SA audit. We'll tell you where your setup is in need of help at no cost. So the next thing is automation. So we're in now in automation. So when you come to SimpleGrowth as a certified advisor, we set up done for you turnkey automations for lawn care and home cleaning. Now, this is an example I'm going to show you in lawn care, but it's very similar to the home cleaning automations. They come pre-built in 3 different areas for the north, south, and southwest parts of the US and Canada. And they come with about 130 to 140 marketing documents pre-built with marketing content already written for you. I'm going to say vanilla content. You may want to go in there and make them a little more sexier, but it gives you a really good starting point. So we have 3 different versions for the north, south, and southwest, pre-built marketing content turnkey for you. So we have email scripts, text message scripts, and phone call scripts that you can copy or edit. In addition, based on each part of the country, we go in and customize the automations to the particular timing of your market based on the time of your market, the services you automate. So the first thing we do here, and if you're doing this yourself, this is what I'd recommend. We go in and enhance that estimate request that we went through in the beginning, and we build logic in there. So if someone's interested in lawn mowing or fertilization, we know exactly what that is, and we have an automated but personal conversation around that. If they come from the office, we enter the information into that phone intake form or the 3 to 4 step process I broke down in the earlier talk. Once they're in, we automatically fire off a thing called a lead letter. These are the 5 or 6 main reasons why your business is different, why someone is going to want to do work with you and not your competitors. In addition, we can tie into a product called Send Jim. If you want a hard copy letter of this mailed out to the Postal Service in the US, we can have that out to them as well. So we have something emotional and physical they can connect. Really great idea for design, build, or any really high ticket products where you actually have to go out and schedule an estimate. This just helps differentiate and reinforce your brand differentiation. So they've got this lead letter. This fires off automatically in the email, though. 5 or 6 reasons why your business is different. Now, before the estimate or the same time as the estimate, in conjunction, if you're doing the estimate live over the phone, as we recommended with those gateway services, we're going to send out a thing called short-term education. So this is going to go out and educate them to the particular service they're interested in. So in the lawn mowing example, it's going to be talking about maybe the proper mowing height, how to sharpen your blades, and proper irrigation to go with the mowing. In addition, we recommend that you go in and edit and add to the documents that we've already given you to overcome any sales or price objections. So do I need to be home to have the service done? Are you going to close the fence gate behind you so I don't have to worry about it if I don't check it after the technician leaves, so the kids and the dog don't run out of the backyard? Same thing in the home cleaning industry. Maybe talking about the difference between a top to bottom deluxe, which is your initial clean, what that includes, versus a general maintenance weekly or biweekly clean. We're educating them around those processes. Once the estimate is submitted, this process here is called 20 days to close. This follows up on each and every estimate till we get a yes or no answer. It's going to follow up via automated email, automated text, and phone calls. Yes, phone calls. People don't like making phone calls. I highly recommend making phone calls. It comes in the form of a to with a phone script and a deadline assigned to a specific role or person in the business. Now, it's going to literally say, hey, call Ms. Smith. It's been 3 days since we dropped off the estimate. Here's what to say. If she says the price is too high, here's some call and sales script to overcome that. And in addition, it says, if she becomes a client, do this in Service Autopilot. If she doesn't become a client in Service Autopilot, do this. She's like, I'm not sure if I'm going to hire her or not, do this in Service Autopilot. So we've created a predictable and delegatable workflow inside the system. Now, for all the folks watching that don't want to make a phone call, good news. We've been able to tie into a thing called a ringless voicemail bomb. So if there's a cell phone on file, right back to the beginning, remember on the phone number, we said, always collect the cell phone. When in doubt, put it in there. This ringless voicemail bomb now triggers, and it makes the cell phone look like it's had a missed call, and it leaves a pre-recorded message, but it's not a robocall. It's literally, so if I was there, hey, it's Mike from Callahan. So sorry, I missed you. I wanted to follow up, see any questions regarding your estimate. If you do, please call us back at this number. If not, feel free to accept the online estimate. So we've created an automated but personal workflow around that estimate follow-up. Now, hopefully we win that estimate. So automatically now, without you having to do anything, we automatically send out a welcome email. This will acclimate the consumer what to expect when working with you. And if you want a credit card on file, we automate that process right here with a PCI compliant credit card form. In addition, we customize the automation for you to follow up on only reoccurring services 30, 60, and 90 days. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that we see folks doing is their automations aren't customized. So we customize the automations to your services that are only reoccurring to follow up 30, 60, and 90 days. And it doesn't look like an automated email. It's a plain text email that looks like somebody in your office literally took a few minutes to write up a quick email like, hey, how's the service going up to this point? So we're going to capture those little cancellation issues before they escalate to cancellation. Now, if you end up working with SimpleGrowth, we also go in here and customize your one-time services. So have a one-time follow-up with that same personalized looking email to follow up to make sure they're happy. Next thing we do is happy holidays. All your major US and Canadian holidays, pre-written is a little blurb about the holiday. We educate them and wish them a happy holiday. Now below that, we've got newsletters. Those go out in the beginning of every month. They go to everybody in your database, leads and clients. The idea here is you want to educate the consumer what they should be doing in their yard or home the month in advance. So we're going to educate them, let's say in the wintertime, about ornamental pruning, how to do it, proper timing of the cuts, and then a soft one-liner, by the way, you're here to help. Home cleaning, great examples by the holidays, maybe refrigerator and stove cleanouts. We talk about the process and the system, educate them around the products, and then upsell that at the bottom softly. Now below that, we've segmented your pipeline for leads and clients. Very important because we can have special promotions for leads that haven't converted into clients, or special communication or promotions for people that haven't, for customers. So we don't alienate our customers if we're running a special for people who haven't converted into clients. That is the process there. Now the final process here is the loss process. So originally we used to call these service automations. What we've realized is there's a bigger benefit of casting this broad net across your entire database. So upsell would be literally is if they haven't just won an estimate for it, if they don't have it scheduled, we upsell that service to everyone in the database. So if there's anybody watching this who is on our sales level 3 package, drop us an email at help@simplegrowthsystems.com. We're systematically going through it, no extra cost, adding upsell automations for up to 5 services for you. So make sure that you're looking at that. Home cleaning as well. If you're in this process, everything's identical, but what we're recommending here is that we have an additional one in there. So if we have a one-time cleaning and they don't sign up for a reoccurring cleaning, the automation with about 7 days kicks in and tries to upsell that reoccurring cleaning. So now we're growing so fast, we need to get some employees. So how do we do it? We've created employee recruiting, training, and onboarding inside Service Autopilot. So the way we've broken this out, and if you're going to follow the process and do it yourself, this is how I recommend it. We've created a hosted landing page that would go on your Craigslist, Indeed, or Facebook, wherever you're looking online for employees, and an office entry form. Newest addition to this is it's in English and Street Spanish, both versions to convert based on the language. Once they've filled that out, we've dropped them into SAM, the automation. We run them through an online application process. Let's say the gentleman's name is Joe. After he's jumped through some of these virtual hoops, he's ready to go. And he's gotten through the application. To do a task that's going to pop up in your office assigned to a particular person who is responsible for setting up these interviews. We can have a pre-interview ranking of A, B, and C. So maybe only the A's and B's get to the interview. It's a filtering mechanism. We're starting to buy that time back. In addition, the person in your office is typing in the interview date and time. And the automation will either text message or email. I'm recommending text. It will text the applicant the week before and the day before the interview, reminding where to show up, when to show up. If they're not going to show up, they'll let you know, and you can assign homework. So big idea here is assign some homework like we did in my company to go down and get a driver's abstract at the DMV, proves they have a license, and now they've got some skin in the game. And if anybody's sat at the DMV anytime lately, trust me, if they sit down to that DMV and get that driver's abstract, they're pretty interested in that job. It's a good way to screen them out. Now, once we get up here, we've got our standardized interviewing package. So if you've watched any of the Lawn Care Millionaire videos with Jonathan Potoshnik of the Lawn Care Millionaire, or been to any of the regional events where Jonathan and I talk, we talk a lot about stacking that virtual bench. And that virtual bench, the idea is we're always constantly recruiting for every position in the company. And this is the way that automation was built around that. So there's 5 or 6 standardized questions you would ask every applicant. And then the interviewer is prompted to rank the the applicant in an A, B, and C fashion. Now, what we've done is created a saved database, or almost a qualified labor pool for you. So this is your virtual bench. So you can go into SA through a saved search that we've set up for you. You can go in and say, I want to see all my A applicants. All my A applicants say in the last 15 to 20 days. So, and that gives you that virtual bench, or that hiring pool to go from. Now, the next thing is, if we don't have the hiring process, we automatically fire out, hey, we're sorry, we're not hiring at this point. We'll keep you in the database. It makes that uncomfortable conversation a little bit easier. But if we hire them, we drop them into a 2 to 3 part introduction to company culture. That's going to go over your mission, vision, values. Those are the things that are going to start helping retain that millennial employee, and we're not aligning them to just a paycheck. That was a game changer at my company. And below that, we're going to an automated tax document collection. So what we're going to do is culture and tax docs goes up to 3 attempts. After the 3rd and final attempt, if they don't fill out, say, their tax documents after the final deadline, you will get a task or a to-do basically in Service Autopilot saying, hey, Joe didn't fill out his tax docs, and we recommend basically firing. Because what the automation is built to do is right here, it buys the time back before we hire them and screens them out. Once we hire them, we screen them out again and onboard them, but this is before we train them. Now, the final part, and I think it's quite magical personally, but I'm a little biased, is what we do here is we send the office through 36 videos and 6 modules complete with testing, from the original flowchart I showed you through automated video training with testing, how to use Service Autopilot in a substantial workflow. So that's where we get people up and running on SA within 7 to 10 days pretty quickly. In addition, what we did in my company is we took videos in the field with literally a smartphone, a tripod, and a wireless mic, and created basically videos that were automated now for training our field staff. So everybody that went in our field staff went through online automated video training for training in the field staff. So the idea is we've created our own little franchise without franchise fees that's replicatable. So if you end up working with SimpleGrowth, we'll take up to 5 videos that you provide with training text and create an online automated video training series for your field staff. And we automatically give you the 36 videos and 6 modules with testing for your office staff, how to use Service Autopilot. We also have an automated contract and handbook fulfillment. So if you work with us, obviously we don't give you those for a reason, like for legal reasons, but all the things that should happen when someone is hired now happens without the business manager or owner babysitting the process. So if you're building your own, put in the ideas of all the things that need to be done with accountability, so the automation manages the process. Now, the last and final thing here is once you got 25, 30 employees, the business owner is becoming a full-time daycare center. So if you're not telling everyone what to do every day, every week, every month, or every quarter, it's not happening. And what we found is there's 7 core areas of business inside Service Autopilot that can be automated. And there's sales, customer service, scheduling, billing, office manager, maintenance, and owner. So what we've done here in our package is it preloaded with about 38 or 39 of these. There's some examples of them. And then you can build as many of these as you want for each frequency in each division. But if you're building this on your own, this would be best practice to start with for sure. Really basic example here is if we had a full-time salesperson, maybe his name is Dave. Dave's job, or most of his job for the day, was to finish his estimates and follow up his phone calls. If Dave didn't do that job and finish it and complete it through the automation, at about 5:30 in the afternoon, depending on how the automation was configured, Dave would either get a text message or an email letting him know he didn't do his job, what he needs to do to complete it. And based on how important it was, the automation would either email or text message the manager or the owner to let them know that Dave didn't do his job. So the automation manages the repetitive task and workflow. And if it doesn't happen, it pulls a human in to manage what should happen when it should happen. So hopefully that was helpful, but this is literally SA setup, workflow, scheduling, billing, estimating, and then the fully automated business, all inside Service Autopilot. So a free copy of this presentation and a free cheat sheet, go to simplegrowthsystems.com/SA-audit. That's /SA-audit. And that's going to be the key to success. We've got a few people watching here live. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those live while we are here. But when you go to that page there of Simple Growth Systems SA Audit, we're going to give you a free 30-minute audit, evaluate you. We'll get you a copy of today's presentation slides. And you can go online based on your time zone and book a free call with somebody on the SimpleGrowth team for a half hour for this free audit. No sales pressure, but we want to make sure if you're using Service Autopilot that you really are indeed harnessing the power of it and creating a workflow that's starting to buy time back and avoid all the double entry. So we've got good data in, good data out. Kat Watkins wants to know, will the recording be available later? Yes, it will be on Facebook Live. You can watch this recorded. And after this is done, it will be live on the SimpleGrowth Facebook page as well. So just about to wrap this up. If there is no more other comments or questions, I will wrap it up. But definitely want to reveal what the roadmap to success of Service Autopilot is and what it looks like fully set up before you automate it and how to foundationally set it up. And then once you automate it, those 3 core areas of the business, your sales, your employee, and your repetitive tasks. So look forward to chatting on you. Make sure you hit that website, simplegrowthsystems.com/SA audit. Get you a copy of this presentation, the slides, and the ability to book a free consult with myself or Dylan on the SimpleGrowth team. So hopefully to see you on a live talk soon. Otherwise, hopefully this was helpful. What Service Autopilot looks like fully set up to fully automate your business and streamline it and be able to delegate it to other folks in your business.